and welcome to News Now. I'm your host, Taylor Inman. We're going over the week's biggest headlines for Northwest Montana. A man who was once called the Cocaine Fairy by Flathead County law enforcement has reached a plea from charges stemming from a string of robberies in the Flathead Valley. On January 5th, 47-year-old Michael Ray Downing of Hungry Horse reached a plea deal in numerous burglary cases. In the deal, Downing agreed to plead guilty to felony accountability to burglary charges, burglary, and tampering with a witness. All told, he agreed to plead guilty to 6 of the 13 counts initially brought against him. The net sentence for all counts is 20 years in prison, but he is yet to be formally sentenced. Downing was arrested May 6, 2025 by Flathead County Sheriff's deputies. Law enforcement said they linked him to more than $1 million in thefts dating back to October 2024. All told, about 15 burglary cases. Flathead County Sheriff Brian Haino said last year that one of those thefts was vehicles from Glacier Raft Company, though the vast majority of the targeted properties were vacant residences, often seasonal homes. Downing was caught in the spring of 2025 when he allegedly tried to tear a safe out of a house with a chain hooked to a side-by-side up Half Moon Road. In August 2006, Downing, then 27, earned the nickname Cocaine Fairy after he was busted by the Northwest Montana Drug Task Force near Big Fork. When the authorities arrived, Downing fled out the back door as officers came in through the front. Downing tore open a half-pound bag of cocaine as he ran, creating a big cloud of cocaine as he ducked into the woods, thus the moniker. He escaped that arrest attempt but was captured soon after. Task force members found more than 4 pounds of cocaine in the home and $12,000 in cash at the time. Downing was charged and ultimately pleaded guilty in federal court to conspiracy to distribute cocaine in 2007. He was sentenced to 70 months in prison and a 5-year probation. He violated the terms of his probation in a couple of instances for drinking, according to court documents, and wasn't released from federal probation until 2019. 2 other people, 35-year-old James Exile and 36-year-old Ashley Bruns, were also charged in connection with the 2024 burglary ring. Bruns pleaded guilty to 1 count of felony theft in July of 2025 and was sentenced in September 2025 by District Judge Amy Eddy to a 6-year deferred sentence. It must pay $19,006 to a victim in the case. The deferred sentence came as it was her first felony offense. Ekval also reached a plea deal on several felony burglary accountability charges as well as felony theft on January 30th. The recommended sentence in his case is for 20 years in prison with 10 suspended. However, like Downing, he is yet to be formally sentenced. Downing's sentencing is scheduled for March 5th. A man accused of threatening the police officer who arrested him for allegedly urinating behind a Whitefish bus stop last year later received a suspended jail sentence and agreed to leave Montana forever. Prosecutors brought 53-year-old Dustin Lawrence Oswald, formerly of Whitefish, up on a felony count of threats or improper influence in official or political matters following his March 12, 2025 arrest near the intersection of Baker Avenue and 13th Street. He pleaded not guilty at his April 3rd arraignment before Judge Heidi Ulbricht in Flathead County District Court. But by April 23rd, Oswald had reached a multifaceted deal with prosecutors. For the felony charge, Oswald inked a deferred prosecution agreement that, among other stipulations, required him to leave Montana the following day and never return. As part of the package, prosecutors filed a second charge, misdemeanor obstructing a peace officer, with a plea deal already in place. That agreement called for a suspended 6 months jail sentence in exchange for Oswald admitting guilt. Ulbricht stuck to the terms of the arraignment at Oswald's sentencing. She gave him credit for 41 days of time served and ordered him to pay $185 in fines and fees. Oswald was described in court documents as growing upset after a Whitefish police officer confronted him for allegedly peeing at about 3:07 p.m. Initially arrested for disorderly conduct, Oswald allegedly threatened to tear the officer's throat out. The Flathead Avalanche Center reported a rash of close calls in the backcountry over the last week as dangerous avalanche conditions persist in northwest Montana. A special avalanche warning was issued on Tuesday for slopes in the Whitefish, Swan, and Flathead mountain ranges and in Glacier National Park. Natural and human-triggered slides are very likely due to a weak layer in the snowpack that was buried by a recent snowstorm, according to the advisory. The avalanche danger is rated high for all upper elevation locations. Slabs of snow could break to 2 to 4 feet thick and release destructive and deadly amounts of debris. Avalanche forecasters in recent days have seen slides as wide as 1,000 feet. More wind loading and additional weight from new snow could add another aspect to the already complicated environment. Zollner said this means the places that someone can go to avoid triggering or being caught in an avalanche are limited. A number of slides have been reported to the Avalanche Center since a series of storms dumped nearly 2 feet of snow on the mountains last week. Recent reports from popular backcountry areas beyond the boundary at Whitefish Mountain Resort indicate a touchy snowpack. Fresh signs of avalanches were seen in the Canyon Creek area and off Gooley's Point, and one skier triggered a slide on the backside of Lodi just a short hike above the T-Bar 2 terminal. One report notes a slide on the Half Moon snowfield east of Big Mountain that is visible from Whitefish. 3 sets of ski tracks mark the skier's right side of the open slope, with a sizable avalanche on the other and ski tracks emerging from the debris field. Zoliner wrote in Tuesday's forecast that skiers should continue very safe and intentional travel in the mountains. He said even when it is uncomfortable to submit an observation of a triggered avalanche or an incident involving someone being caught or carried, that information helps the Flathead Avalanche Center pattern the snowpack and keep the community safe. Midway through the candidate filing period, a handful of races in northwest Montana have emerged as hotbeds of intra-party competition. Multiple Republicans are set to run in 4 of the region's top political races, including races for the State House of Representatives, Senate, and Public Service Commission. 3 Republicans have registered in House District 4, which includes Columbia Falls and the eastern edge of Whitefish. Business owner Sean Pandina plans to try his luck in the district after losing the 2024 primary in District 7 to fellow Republican Courtney Sprunger. He'll face Nathan Purdy, the owner of a medical imaging service, and incumbent Lynn Bennett, a registered nurse. Paula Koch, a Spanish teacher at Columbia Falls Junior High School, is the only Democrat currently registered in the race. House District 7, representing the heart of Kalispell, is also poised for a Republican runoff. While neither has registered with the Secretary of State's office, incumbent Courtney Sprunger and newcomer Luke Maxwell are both soliciting campaign donations through personal websites. In the Senate, District 1 is currently posed to be the most competitive race in northwest Montana, with 3 candidates vying for the chance to replace longstanding Senator Mike Cuff. Former Representative Steve Gunderson and local business owner Vincent Backen are both registered as Republicans, while Libby mayoral candidate Jonathan Jameson is throwing his hat in the ring as a Democrat. The race for Public Service Commissioner of District 5, including the eastern side of the Flathead Valley, includes Republican incumbent Annie Bukacek and former commission employee and fellow Republican David Sanders. A handful of other races have drawn a single candidate from each side of the aisle so far. Montana House District 3, including Whitefish and the West Glacier area, is posed for a repeat of the 2024 general election, which saw Democrat Debo Powers face off against Republican Kathy Mitchell. Democrat Luca Well, a river guide and substitute teacher, plans to run against incumbent Republican Braxton Mitchell to represent Montana House District 5, which includes Hungry Horse, Coram, and Martin City. In House District 6, which encompasses northwest Kalispell, Republican Jim Riley, a business consultant, is currently slated to run against Democrat Darren Fix, a software engineer, in the general election. Republican incumbent Mark Noland would compete with Democrat Patrick Fitzpatrick for Senate District 6, which includes the eastern shore and big arm of Flathead Lake. Republican candidates for Senate District 6 and House Districts 1, 2, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 remain unchallenged as of February 23rd. Candidates have through March 4th to file for the primary, so the ballot will likely lengthen for some races. The primary election is set for June 2nd, and the general election is set for November 3rd. Representatives from the Flathead Lakers and the Polson Bay Golf Course presented a plan to the Polson City Commission last Wednesday to reduce stormwater runoff, which had caused increased levels of E. coli in Flathead Lake near Bocher Park. Kobe Gerke, the executive director of the Flathead Lakers, said they have been monitoring water quality weekly since 2017, and Bocher is one of their problem children. He noted that this area tests above the healthy standard threshold for E. coli, a bacteria that causes digestive issues in humans. The increased levels of nutrients and bacteria have also caused an algal bloom and swimmer's itch. These levels are caused by upstream water flow from the irrigation canals and a goose population on the golf course, according to Gerke. The Lakers, along with Polson Bay Golf Course, are creating a public-private partnership to reduce pollution and improve filtration. This project includes continuing to monitor water quality and levels of nitrogen, phosphate, and pesticides. Gerke noted that they have hired landscape architects to help craft retention ponds and bioretention swales above the course's maintenance shop and redevelop outlets to create a meandering creek that flows into the ponds. The Lakers started out as a homeowners association and changed to a nonprofit many years ago to focus on the water quality of the Flathead watershed. They've also worked on other shoreline protection projects for the lake, including projects that involved cities and private landowners. Gerke explained that they have good partners on this project, including the Flathead Lake Biological Station and other private labs in Kalispell. He also said this is a project that Pat Nolan, the golf superintendent, and his team could not undertake without the Lakers' grants and private donations. He said that the Golf Advisory Board meeting on Tuesday, February 17th, that they plan to invest over $150,000 of private money into this project. Nolan explained that the Old Nine was constructed in 1936 and that golf course architecture has come a long way since then, with engineered basins and filtration systems. Nolan said they do not apply pesticides to the course, but mercury was applied to the course in the 1960s, and that has not reached the lake. Commissioner Tracy McDonald asked Gerke whether they have a system for notifying the public of water quality levels. Gerke explained that they work with a third-party nonprofit, Swim Guide, to communicate water conditions. 2 short documentaries filmed on the Flathead Indian Reservation are among 8 contenders for the Big Sky Award at the 2026 Big Sky Documentary Film Festival. The Water Keepers tells the story of how a small group of tribal scientists built a comprehensive water measurement network that ultimately laid the scientific foundation for one of the most significant water rights settlements in the United States, the Confederated Salish and Kootenai Tribes Water Compact. The film is one of 8 finalists competing for the festival's Big Sky Award. For decades, tribal scientists installed and continue to maintain stream gauges across the Flathead Basin, collecting hard data that replaced theoretical models with measurable facts. That long-term commitment to science proved decisive during negotiations over water rights, allowing tribal leaders, state officials, and federal lawmakers to rely on empirical evidence rather than projections. After years of negotiations, the CSKT Water Compact was approved by the Montana legislature, ratified by Congress, and signed into law in 2020. The Confederated Salish and Kootenai Tribes formally approved the compact that same year. The agreement is largely recognized as the cornerstone for long-term economic stability, environmental stewardship, and legal certainty across the region. Paving the way, set against the sweeping landscapes of the Flathead Indian Reservation, follows skateboarder, seamstress, and artist Allison Kelly while exploring the connection between skateboarding cultural traditions and artistic expression. As 5 new skate parks rise across the reservation, the story highlights the sport's power to build community, foster confidence, and challenge stereotypes, and offers a vibrant portrait of young people who fall, get back up, and carve their own paths. The Big Sky Documentary Film Festival screens more than 150 documentaries from around the globe. The Big Sky Award honors the best film about the American West. Learn more at bigskyfilmfest.org. Thanks for joining us. News Now is a podcast from the Daily Interlake. We're proud to be the largest independent newsroom in Montana and the longest continuously published newspaper in the region. Today's stories were written by Hungry Horse news editor Chris Peterson, Daily Interlake regional editor Matt Baldwin, news editor Derek Perkins, and reporter Haley Smalley, as well as the Lake County Leader team and reporter Emily Messer. You can read the full versions of these stories at dailyinterlake.com, and if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode of the pod. Everybody stay safe and have a great week. Thanks to our sponsor, Lawrence Auto Repair, at 1309 U.S. Highway 2 in Kalispell. Most consistently rated 5-star shop serving the Kalispell area. Visit lawrenceauto.com.